Welcome to today's Explainer and Executive Briefing. We are diving into what is truly a monumental paradigm shift in professional workplace productivity. We are officially moving way beyond the era of artificial intelligence as just a conversational partner and entering an era where it acts as a fully autonomous digital workforce. The subject of our analysis today is Manus, YM, which you've probably heard referred to as Manus AI. Look, if you've been paying any attention to enterprise tech trends, you know the race is no longer about who has the absolute smartest chatbot. It's about who can completely automate the mechanical, repetitive grunt work that bogs down your most talented people. Today, we're going to break down exactly how this platform operates, why it absolutely matters to your bottom line, and how it's fundamentally redefining what it means to be a professional. So let's just jump right in with a massive fundamental question. What actually happens when AI stops advising and starts executing? Think about the traditional AI experience we've all grown so accustomed to over the last couple of years. You ask a question, it gives you a text response, and then you, the human, still have to go out, open the software, format the data, design the slides, and, well, do the actual work. It's entirely passive. Manus YM flips that entire model completely on its head. It isn't just an advisor anymore, it's a true autonomous digital workforce. It takes your high-level directive and actually executes the complex, multi-step workflows required to finish the job for you. Here is our strategic roadmap for this briefing. We'll be covering the shift from advisor to executor, the end of mechanical labor, and the multi-agent architecture at work. Then we'll look at the transparent gray box, dive into a real-world marketing case study, and wrap things up with empowering human judgment. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, from advisor to executor. Think about the stark contrast between the old paradigm and this new reality. Traditional AI tools simply converse. They hand you a recipe, right? But you're the one still stuck cooking the meal. Manus YM, on the other hand, is a true executor. It completely shatters the barrier to entry for really complex workflows. It doesn't just tell you how to analyze data, it literally writes the code, cleans the data, runs the analysis, and builds the presentation. It bridges that massive gap between a novice who has a brilliant idea and a seasoned professional who has the technical skills to create a polished deliverable. Which brings us nicely to Section 2, the end of mechanical labor. Okay, the absolutely crucial concept to grasp here is intention-based computing. For a beginner, or honestly even an executive branching into a totally new discipline, the biggest hurdle is always that middle ground. It's the highly technical, mechanical steps required to turn a strategic idea into a tangible result. Intention-based computing means you no longer need to master specific software suites, you don't need to memorize coding languages, or learn complex user interfaces. You simply define your ultimate goal. You get to focus entirely on the what, and the AI autonomously handles the mechanical how. Let's look at exactly how this plays out in practice. Say you want to analyze a coffee shop's sales data to figure out a brand new opening schedule. Step 1, you just state that goal in plain English. Then the magic happens. Manus YM autonomously opens a browser, writes a custom Python script to clean up the messy data, and then, no joke, runs an advanced statistical model like a Monte Carlo simulation. Finally, step 3, it doesn't just toss a spreadsheet back at you. It generates visualizations and actually hosts the results on a temporary web dashboard for you to review. By handling all of those technical mechanics, literally anyone can now perform at the level of a senior data analyst without needing a statistics degree or a single day of coding experience. Moving right along to Section 3, multi-agent architecture at work. Under the hood, Manus YM isn't just a single software tool. It acts as an executive manager. It delegates the grunt work to specialized sub-agents. We're talking dedicated digital researchers, digital coders, and digital designers. This closely mimics a high-end, real-world agency structure. For a beginner, having this instant team ensures outputs meet rigorous professional standards. For example, automatically knowing to pull and cite data from highly credible sources like the International Energy Agency or official government portals. And for a professional, it means you step into the role of an overseer, managing the high-level strategy while your sub-agents handle the deep-sea diving and drafting. This architecture unlocks 3 distinct enterprise-level capabilities that completely separate Manus YM from standard chatbots. First up, wide research. While your standard tool might quickly scan 5 websites, Manus deploys hundreds of sub-agents in parallel, synthesizing technical documents, real-time APIs, and forum data all at once. Second, cloud-based asynchrony. Real professional tasks take time. Because Manus runs in the cloud, you can literally delegate a complex task, log off, go into a meeting, and return hours later to a finished product. You are just checking in on your digital subordinate. And third, production-ready deliverables. We are talking about 4K photorealistic presentations via Manus slides, or even fully functional web apps with login systems. It doesn't hand you a rough draft, it gives you a final product. Let's shift gears to Section 4, the transparent gray box. One of the biggest reasons beginners fail to reach professional standards using AI is the lack of a feedback loop. When an AI just spits out an answer from a hidden black box, you have no idea why that result is good or bad. Manus YM solves this head-on with a gray box approach, meaning transparent workflows. It gives you a step-by-step record of its internal logic, the exact tools it decided to use, precisely where it gathered its sources, and how it handled any edge cases. This essentially acts as a silent mentor. You get to watch professional methodology unfold in real time, which actively builds your own AI literacy while verifying the data. You are never ever left guessing how it arrived at its conclusions. Now for a real-world application in Section 5, Case Study, Marketing Execution. Let's directly compare the workflows for a startup founder. If you look at the traditional path, a founder typically has to spend weeks learning SEO, conducting tedious market research, and drafting a content strategy. It's a massive mechanical time sink. Now look at the Manus path. The user simply types an intention, identify a content gap in the sustainable fashion niche, and draft 5 SEO-optimized articles with internal linking. That's it. Manus autonomously scrapes competitors, identifies the missing keywords, and writes the articles with professional nuance. Boom. The founder completely bypasses weeks of mechanical labor and jumps straight to the strategic review of professional deliverables. The speed to market here is just unprecedented. And finally, Section 6, Empowering Human Judgment. Fun fact here, the name Manus actually comes from the Latin word for hand, and this is a highly deliberate choice, symbolizing the tool's role in extending human reach and totally automating all those technical mechanical complexities we've been talking about. Whether you are a university student researching quantum computing or a venture capitalist performing deep financial due diligence, this platform acts as the infrastructure for an entirely new era of productivity. The AI is the hand doing the heavy lifting, executing the mechanics flawlessly. It really all boils down to this fantastic quote from the source material. Manus APM is about empowering the mind via the hand. When you successfully automate the mechanical hand, the coding, the formatting, the deep-sea data scraping, you remove the technical bottlenecks that have always held people back. It ensures that the quality of your output is no longer limited by your technical skills, but solely limited by the depth of your ideas, your creativity, and your strategic judgment. It lets humans focus on what humans actually do best. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway for every executive tuning into this explainer today. If the how is completely taken care of, the absolute only thing left is the what. With your mechanical labor fully automated by a digital workforce, how will you use your newly freed strategic time to lead your industry? It is a profound shift in how we work, and it's a question every forward-thinking leader needs to answer today. Thank you so much for joining me for this executive briefing, and I definitely encourage you to rethink the strategic potential of your own teams in this brand new era.